warm welcome to the news here on Magic Bricks Now, India's first 24/7 property business news channel. I'm Krishna Kumar. Let's take a look at the top stories that we're tracking. The real estate regulatory bill looks all set to sail through the winter session of the parliament thanks to home buyers. An association of buyers from across the country were in Delhi last week and they've managed to get both the opposition support to push the bill through. That's a Magic Bricks Now exclusive. The Noida Reserve issue is in the news again. Barely a month after the Environment Ministry cleared projects in this area, the National Green Tribunal has admitted a plea challenging the order. It has asked the Noida Authority to issue a public notice saying that all property deals in the Okla Bird Sanctuary Ecozone will hinge on the final outcome of the hearing. In our special series, War of the Cities, we talk about Mangalore and its plans to gain a coveted spot in the top 20 list of smart cities. It's a boost to the ease of doing business. The Pune Municipal Corporation launches a new mobile application to grant building permissions, promises to approve projects within 15 days. Straight to our big story. The real estate regulator bill may finally get pushed through the winter session of the parliament as the Congress and TDP, Telugu Desam Party, have pledged to support the bill. This comes after an association of home buyers met with the government and the opposition last week in a bid to garner political support for the regulator. The association, which has members from across India, met with Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu and a number of Congress and TDP leaders in the capital. My colleague Deepa Rana gets us more details.
Home buyers have done what the industry and politicians could not. They have compelled the opposition to join hands with the government and push for the Real Estate Regulation and Development Bill or the Real Estate Regulator Bill in this winter session. In fact, we have an exclusive copy of a letter that Digvijay Singh has written to the Prime Minister, urging and stressing that this bill is important and should be given top priority in the winter session of the Parliament. A Home Buyers Association had met Digvijay Singh and other leaders in Delhi, and Digvijay Singh has ensured his support for the bill. This bill will come as a big relief to home buyers and developers as it aims to check malpractices in the real estate sector and provide a redressal for the issues that the home buyers have with the developers. Also, remember we had told you that the cabinet had approved the recommendations made by the Rajya Sabha Select Committee, and the committee had submitted its report on July 30. Now, an umbrella organization of home buyers from all across the country had come to Delhi and had camped here for 4 days. They met Congress's Digvijay Singh, they met Ghulam Nabi Azad, they met TDP leader Malla Reddy, JDU's Sharad Yadav, and all have come in support of the Real Estate Regulator Bill, and now the onus lies on the government, and let's see that if this bill is given top priority or not. But however, this bill has got approval from all the opposition parties, and let's see what happens now.
Deepa Rana there with the all-important piece of information. Fight for RERA, or Real Estate Regulatory Authority, is the big story here on Magic Bricks Now. We've just been bringing you coverage ever since this Association of Home Buyers have been doing the rounds in the capital, trying to convince political leaders. So there's a consensus, at least in this session of the parliament, the winter session of the parliament. Keep in mind, this bill was nowhere close to getting itself passed in the monsoon session. So the big hope and the fight is that this time around, this bill gets passed, the Real Estate Regulatory Authority bill, because it's all more crucial for people like you and me, the home buyer. And to discuss that further, we are being joined live all the way from our Delhi studios by Lieutenant General S.K. Bari, a member of the All India Movement of Home Buyers. Mr. Bari, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the news on Magic Breaks Now. You met with the government and the opposition leaders. How confident are you of the regulator bill being passed in this winter session of the parliament?
Well, we've been at it since 2012, and we've been meeting the previous government officials, and we've been assured all the time that this bill will be passed. But somehow or other, we are always ditched at the end. Last, we had a meeting in November last year, 2014, and we were told in that winter session that this bill will be put up to the cabinet. It wasn't put up to the cabinet. Then we were told that it will be passed in the next session. That also went dry. Now we hope, as the minister has assured us, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, we met him last week, and he said that try and get the other parties on board, the opposition people on board. So we did go and meet Mr. Sharad Yadav, who was member of the standing committee in the previous government, and we also met Mr. Kharge, leader of the House in the Lok Sabha, and Mr. Digvijay Singh. And we requested them all that please try and get this bill passed at the earliest, because lakhs of home buyers, that means about, if you take 5 people per head, there must be at least 2 lakh apartments which are lying halfway or delayed, and with the result that the people are suffering both by paying EMIs or paying rent in the existing houses. And they paid 90 to 95% of the cost of the apartment, and it's still not being delivered. I think the home buyers have been cheated for a long time, and now it's time for this government to see that this bill is passed at the earliest possible. We have done everything towards it, but what is surprising is that despite this bill having been passed,
Yes.
in
Mr. Bari, I just want to check with you. Have you asked for any changes as far as this bill is concerned? You know, the way it exists right now, in your meetings with the politicians in Delhi, both the ruling and the opposition parties, you know, have you asked for any changes in the final version of the bill that's going to be passed in the winter session of the Parliament?
Really, no, because we feel that whatever it is, whatever has been recommended by the Select Committee of the Rajya Sabha, that bill is adequate for the time being. If it has got some shortcomings, we will fight for them later. But right now, it must be brought about so that the builders stop taking the buyers for a ride.
Just want to understand.
And what is surprising is that in Gurgaon alone, there must be a few thousand people in the courts filing cases, and they're not getting anywhere. So with the regulatory authority coming in, there would be some relief for the home buyers.
Absolutely, there is no doubt about that, and this fight for RERA is crucial. Just want to understand, what else did you discuss with the ministers as far as the way, you know, on behalf of home buyers in this country and their grievances, you know, what else did you discuss with the ministers?
We told them that the builders have got deep pockets with money filled with our money, actually, and they are trying to delay it as much as possible because they use the money power all round, be it the bureaucrats or be it the politicians. And we want that to come to a stop in any which way.
And one of the ways that can come to a stop is if the real estate regulatory bill does get passed in this winter session of the Parliament. Lieutenant General S.K. Bari, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the news and throwing light on all the discussions you've had with all the powers that be in New Delhi. Now, moving away from our big story to the other big story that we're tracking over here. It's a short-lived respite for home buyers in the Okhla Bird Reserve area in Noida. The Environment Ministry order, which reworked the reserve's boundaries and regularized buildings in the reserve zone, has been challenged again. The National Green Tribunal has accepted the plea and will hear it soon. Meanwhile, the fate of those who bought homes here lies in limbo. My colleague Suyesha Sawant, who has been tracking the issue, joins us with some more details. Suyesha, thank you so much for being with us here on the news. Talk to us. What does this new development mean for home buyers?
What seemed like a respite for nearly 10,000 home buyers who had bought homes near the Okhla Bird Sanctuary zone are now in trouble again. A plea has been filed by Anand Arya, which has been accepted by the NGT, as per which they have directed the Noida authority to now issue a public notice to inform the public about the pendency of the present application, and that the notification that had been issued on August 19th, according to which all these projects had got a clearance, are now subject to the order that finally gets passed. The next hearing is on the 16th of December. Owing to this public notice, basically the Noida authority is trying to inform people so that they can take a decision on whether they still want to remain in the project or take an exit. Just to give you a background, nearly 53 projects have been stuck since the last 3 years because they were built in the green zone, and in fact 10 projects or nearly 35,000 homes which were almost complete had received the completion certificates, and now NGT has asked the Noida authority to submit the performer of the completion certificates that have been issued to builders situated within 10 kilometers of 10 kilometers radius of the Okhla Bird Sanctuary. Now buyers have been waiting for a long time to get the possession of their homes, but it seems like this is one more obstacle they'll have to face, and now they can take a call of whether they still want to remain in this or they want to take an exit.
Paisha Sawan, thank you so much for getting us that report. We now have on the phone line live with us Manoj Gaur, President of CREDAI NCR. Thank you so much for being with us here. Manoj, talk to us. What does this development mean for projects in the Okhla Bird Reserve? Home buyers are in limbo again, aren't they?
I don't think it is in that limbo. Sorry, my voice is not clear. I don't think any limbo. No order is issued by the Honorable Court. It's just a scrutiny of that legislation which comes out after very long discussion and all the procedures for right from the public hearing and all. I think a due course of law has been adopted by declaring the area in and around Okhla Bird Sanctuary. I don't think any lapses in that order. If somebody challenges that order is correct or not, I think court is scrutiny only that. And I think all the formalities have already done by issuing that notification of the boundaries of that bird sanctuary.
Manoj, the NGT is clear that buyers should be given an option to exit. Now, if home buyers choose to do so, will builders refund their money?
No. I don't think any such order. ऐसा कोई order नहीं है कि buyer केवल कोर्ट ने ऑनरेबल कोर्ट ने कहा है कि ठीक है ये एक मैटर हमारे सामने है, ये आप जो है इन लार्ज पब्लिक को बता दीजिए. तो ये तो ऑब्वियस है, कोई भी मैटर अगर कोर्ट के सामने और कोर्ट का कोई भी डिसीजन होगा वो तो एप्लीकेबल होगा. केवल एक नोटिफिकेशन जो कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने जारी किया है उसको स्क्रूटनी के लिए किसी ने चैलेंज किया है कि भाई वेदर इट इज करेक्ट और नॉट. अकॉर्डिंग टू माय नॉलेज उसके अंदर सारे प्रोसीजर जो है फॉलो किए गए हैं. जो 10 किलोमीटर रेडियस है दैट इज आइडियल कंडीशन. अदरवाइज सारी बर्ड सेंचुरी जितनी भी हैं इंडिया के अंदर वो उनकी जो बाउंड्री 10 किलोमीटर नहीं है, दैट इज द आइडियल कंडीशन. अदरवाइज जो भी डेवलपमेंट आसपास हो चुका है उसके अकॉर्डिंगली वाइल्ड लाइफ के जो नोटिफिकेशन है उसके हिसाब से प्रैक्टिकल डिसाइड की जाती है. और आफ्टर ड्यू पब्लिक हियरिंग, पब्लिक को पूरा मौका देने के बाद और जो भी कोर्सेज हैं उसके बाद ये बाउंड्रीज जो डिसाइड की गई हैं. आई डोंट थिंक इसके अंदर कोई जो है ऐसा लकूना बैलेंस है कि जो कोर्ट द्वारा से उसको जो है कोई उसमें एडवर्स ऑर्डर आ सकता है.
Okay, Manoj, we will let you go on this one for sure. Talk to us to give a clarity to both the buyers and viewers who are watching us. What exactly is the status on the permissions? Were the requisite permissions taken?
Yes, all the permissions are there. मैं इससे पहले भी हम कई बार आपके चैनल पे और दूसरी जगह भी क्लियर कर चुके हैं कि वाइल्ड लाइफ की परमिशन की ऐसी कोई पहले मैंडेटरी नहीं थी. ये तो सडनली किसी ने एक PIR डाला कि भाई ये इसकी बाउंड्रीज डिसाइडेड नहीं थी. ओखला बर्ड सेंचुरी की कोई बाउंड्रीज पहले डिसाइडेड नहीं थी. उसके बाद कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर दिया, ग्रीन कोर्ट ने जो है ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल ने ही ऑर्डर दिया कि भाई इसकी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को कि इसकी बाउंड्रीज डिसाइड की जाए. तो आफ्टर जो पूरा जो लॉ का प्रोसेस है काफी टाइम लगा, उसके बाद ही इसकी बाउंड्री डिसाइड की गई है. अब किसी आदमी ने सडनली उसको भी चैलेंज कर दिया कि ये बाउंड्री सही से डिसाइड की नहीं है, की गई है या नहीं की गई है, इसको भी कोर्ट देख ले. आई थिंक एक पॉजिटिव ऑलरेडी एक डिसीजन जो है काफी ड्यू कोर्स के बाद सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने उसको डिसाइड किया है. ये नहीं है कि कोई लोकल किसी अथॉरिटी ने कर दिया. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने प्रॉपर उसको जो है नोटिफाइड किया हुआ है और आई डोंट थिंक उस नोटिफिकेशन के अंदर कोई प्रॉब्लम है.
All right then. Manoj Gaur, President of CREDAI for the NCR region, thank you so much for joining us here live on the news on Magic Breaks Now. It's round 2 of the centre's Smart City Plan and the war of the cities has begun. Even as the mid-December deadline is nearing, civic bodies across the country are doing everything they can to make it to the top 20 list. And today we talk about Mangaluru, the chief port city of Karnataka and its smart city plans. Amita Balachandra has the latest on what the city is planning. Take a look.
It is clearly a war of the cities, and the chief port city of the state of Karnataka, Mangaluru, is doing everything it can to make it to the centre smart city list. Now, taking cue from round 1, where it did involve citizens to a large extent, round 2 as well has suggestions from citizens in Mangalore. First of all, what citizens really want are knowledge and wellness cities to be constructed, financial tech cities to be constructed, IT parks to be redeveloped, and of course, fitness and ecotourism cities to be really constructed. Now, these are the key projects that Mangalore is looking at, the city corporation is looking at. But more importantly, the key focus areas, of course, are Bondal, Hampankatta, Car Street, and of course, Pilikula. Pilikula is involved to a large extent in the area-based project that this corporation is looking at, mostly because it's well connected to the port and the airport, and the area is pretty big and can involve a couple of projects. So that's one. When it comes to PAN-based projects itself, it's looking at developing a smart application which is called One Touch Mangaluru, which connects the government bodies to the citizens, and it involves citizens to access any kind of information they want of Mangalore. That's one. Second, it also wants to build a smart utility management system which involves certain issues like water, electricity and solid waste management. But all in all, the key differentiator of Mangalore when compared to other cities is that it is involving citizens to a large extent. Amita Balachandra for Magic Bricks Now.
And joining us here on the news on Magic Breaks Now is the Commissioner of Mangaluru City Corporation, Mr. H.N. Gopalakrishna. Mr. Gopalakrishna, thank you so much for being with us over here. Talk to us. How do you plan on making Mangaluru smart?
What suggestions we have received from the citizen, as you know, economic activity, because Mangalore as such is a educated and an educational hub of the coastal Karnataka, and lot of good educational institutions are there. But even health indicators also very good when compared to other districts of state of Karnataka. But world standard healthcare facilities and educational institutions we are focusing in this smart city project.
Mr. Gopalakrishna, area-based development is one of the key criterions for this particular phase. What kind of area-based development are you looking at?
Around 3,200 acres area has been identified, where there is only some portion of government land is there, and remaining thing is private land holdings, and they have given their letter of intent to their willingness to participate in this project. We will develop that area. Core infrastructure will be provided by the corporation or SPV, special purpose vehicle formed for this purpose, utilizing smart city funds. Remaining development will be taken by the private PPP model. And once the entire thing gets succeeded, then the same thing will be replicated to other parts of the city also.
Mr. Gopalakrishna, by when can we expect the draft proposal to be ready and submitted to the government?
I think by tomorrow we are going to host it on the mygov.in, inviting suggestions or comments on the smart city proposal, draft proposal, and till 11th we are going to receive the suggestions, and by between 12th to 14th we are going to finalize the proposal and submit it to the Government of India.
Mr. Gopalakrishna, I'm afraid we have to let you go on that note. H.N. Gopalakrishna, Commissioner of Mangaluru City Corporation, thank you so much for being with us here on the news on Magic Bricks Now. Moving on. Smaller and less expensive homes in Gurgaon. Yes, that could soon be the case thanks to a new land policy implemented by the Haryana government called the New Integrated Licensing Policy 2015. This allows smaller landholdings to benefit from easier norms and go in for development. To understand how this policy exactly works, my colleague Suesha Sawant, who covers the Delhi NCR market, joins us here on the news. Suesha, less expensive homes in Gurgaon now, how will that happen?
The new integrated licensing policy 2015 can increase housing supply and incentivize affordable housing in Gurgaon. Earlier, a minimum of 100 acres of land was required for integrated residential townships. Now that limit has been reduced to 25 acres. This will not only allow more developers to step in, but will also encourage smaller developers to build more. With the NLIP, any entity with land area more than 25 acres can now avail to a global FSI of 1.0 and a 250 per person density. How this will help is that this will encourage the creation of smaller sized apartments of 1100 to 1200 square feet, and they will be in the affordable bracket of 55 to 65 lakhs, which is more in demand right now. Also 12% will be given to the government for affordable housing, which earlier the builder only had to build. 2.5 acres will be given to the government for recreational facilities like parks, etc. 45% will be for open spaces. Now the remaining 55%, which will be around 12 to 13 acres of land, there the developer can create plots and low-rise housing in smaller configurations. This will also lead to faster execution, faster turnaround time, and all in all, looser fragments of land can now be better organized and it can lead to better development.
And to understand that new licensing policy even better, we're now being joined by Surbhi Arora, who heads the research team at property consultancy Colliers. Surbhi, thank you so much for joining us here on the News and Magic Breaks. Now, firstly, talk to us by approximately how much will this policy increase the supply in Gurgaon and how will it help small landowners?
See, the intent of the policy is to unlock the unutilized land in urbanizable area. In the earlier policy, the group housing development was limited to 20% of the net planned area. And on rest 80%, you can only build plotted residential colonies. Now, moreover, there was the minimum area requirement also of 100 acres. Because of these restrictions, the development goes on a halt. And if you see, various sectors in Gurgaon, you will find there are many unutilized small land parcels. To unlock this unutilized policy, the policy has made various provisions. For example, now the minimum area requirement has been reduced from 100 acre to 25 acre. TDR is offered to the landowners who do not meet the minimum criteria of 25 acre. The TDR can be monetized with the developer or government. There is no restriction how you have to build group housing only. Now you can build group housing, row houses, etc. So all these initiatives will certainly help to unlock more land, and whatever is available, you can say around 4 times of the supply, and definitely you will see a lot of residential development in developed area.
Okay, so we also tell us how will it impact prices going forward? Can we expect a drop in prices if there's an increase in supply as you're talking about?
Okay, see, the policy will not only enable development of a small residential projects, but it would also help developer to build a smaller unit sizes. Earlier, builder used to build only bigger apartments. If you see Gurgaon, 3 BHK are in plenty. But if you want to have a 2 BHK or 1 BHK, it is very difficult to get, because in order to consume the full FAR of 1.75 earlier, and because of the density norm, they used to build bigger apartments. Now with the revised norm where FAR is 1 and the density is 250% per acre, I think we will see a smaller configuration, which will eventually reduce the ticket size and increase affordability. But if you talk about the price reduction, like per square feet, I don't see a price reduction in near future because of 2 reasons. One, the land cost is really high, so whoever is going to build these apartments or row houses will buy the land at a very high price. Second, there is a high demand for a small size configuration. So eventually the ticket size will be reduced. Because of that, there will be an increase in affordability. However, price rationalization will happen in long run when the supply will actually start hitting the market. So initially, I don't see a price reduction.
All right, then. Surbhi Arora of Colliers International, head of the research team over there. Thank you so much for joining us here on the news and sharing us your perspective. Moving on. After Navi Mumbai and Mumbai, it is Pune's turn to fast-track building clearances. The Pune Municipal Corporation, or the PMC, will soon come out with an app for faster building clearances. Ruchi Deshpande, who tracks the Pune market, gets us more details. Ruchi, how exactly will this app benefit the real estate sector in Pune?
It looks like Pune Municipal Corporation or the PMC is going great guns in ensuring that Pune's realty sector gets the ease of doing business. Now, we learned that the PMC will soon come out with an app for speeding up the building clearances for builders and architects in the city. Note that this initiative by the PMC comes right after PMRD's recent app where they've used it to curb illegal buildings in the PMC and the PCMC area. Just to take you through the process of how it works, the builder or the architect uploads their application onto the app, after which it goes through the civic administration changes until it gets back to the applicant, and this is done in a span of 15 days. That's right, 15 days is the amount of time required for this application to pass through all the civic approvals. One noteworthy feature of this app is that the applicant can use it to track the progress of their approval. So if you log on at any point, the applicant can know which civic department its approval is stuck in until it gets back to the applicant or the builder. Now, when we spoke to the Pune Municipal Corporation, they told us that this app is in its pilot stage. All the payments for the same can be made online, very much like the Auto DCR of Navi Mumbai, and that this app will be launched next year, that is in January 2016.
And with that, we've completely run out of time here on this edition of the news. Remember, if you have any feedback or suggestions for us, write to us on the email ID at the bottom of your screens. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, so feel free to tweet to us or post a query on our Facebook page. Also, remember to check out our live streaming website, www.mbnow.in. We would absolutely love to hear from you. And with that, we wrap things up here on the news. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.